Welcome to the Talkhouse Podcast. I'm Elia Einhorn, and today I'm joined by
Nick Dawson, Editor-in-Chief of Talkhouse Film.
On today's episode, we have Terence Nance in conversation with Steve Ellison, better known as Flying Lotus.
These are two guys who bridge the worlds of music and film. Flylo is best known for his music, and Terence is best known for his filmmaking. Terence, of course, is a longtime contributor to the Talkhouse, and he and Steve, a.k.a. Flylo, have been buddies for years since they played music together at Sundance. And they've collaborated on a screenplay, and last week they sat down in a conference room in Midtown, and they had a pretty wild conversation.
The occasion for the conversation, of course, is Flylo's debut film, Kuso, which I must say, right away, listeners, brace yourself, NSFW. You might have seen a Pitchfork article about this debating whether this was in fact George Clinton's butthole on screen or whether it was a prosthetic butthole.
Yeah, there's a lot of buttholes in this film, a lot of penises. It's a film that's really, really out there. It's kind of pushing buttons and pushing envelopes and pushing things into other things in ways that people don't really like at all. And it's not for the faint of heart, but it is like kind of a remarkable film. It's sort of a really complete vision and really like wildly original and imaginative.
It is. Nick, I'm waiting to see this in the theater. I want to see this on the big screen. I did watch the trailer. It's fucking insane.
It is insane. And some of the stuff they talk about is pretty out there as well. I mean, they start off with a story from Steve about him getting tested. I kind of feel like I'm a little uncomfortable even saying more than that. But
uncomfortable is the word.
It's a little painful. But they get into some stuff as well in this conversation, kind of more profound than you might expect. I mean, Terence, as I said, has known Steve for years. He kind of identifies the thing about Kuso, which is it's this combination of base humor and transcendence. And I think that's the really special thing about the film. And in a way, I think the confidence that he had to pull that off has only come recently. And he talks about sort of the doubts that he had and why it took him so long as somebody who went to film school.
And Terence talks about being a filmmaker who's a musician that hasn't made a record despite having songs for 15 years.
For 15 years. In fact, when Terence started writing for the Talkhouse 3 years ago, in his bio it said, new record coming out this year, and that's still accurate. That hopefully it's going to come out this year.
Listeners, buckle up for a talk that takes in quite a bit. You're going to hear about stabbing dicks. You're going to hear about scraping dicks. You're going to hear about a lot of things none of us ever thought we were going to hear about, or maybe wanted to hear about. You're also going to hear about the guy's greatest fears.
But we start with something fortunately not related to dicks, specifically the last time we did a podcast episode with Terence, which was between him and Michel Gondry.
Oh, cool. How was that?
It was strange. He talked about his inability to have adult relationships.
Oh.
And he said that his this is terrible. He got his girlfriend at the time, like in the moment, pregnant. And then she told him in that moment she doesn't love him anymore. And then she was out.
I know that girl. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, yeah. He was real broken up about it, like in the moment. And I was like, damn.
That sucks.
You know that girl that actually, like, that happened to you?
No, I mean, I know the girl he's talking about.
Just kidding. That'd be terrible.
What's up with you? What's your life like?
Shit's cool, man. You know, like, I ain't never made a movie before. I don't know what the hell is going on. I'm out here.
Didn't you go to film school?
But I ain't never made a movie before. Like, it's different, man. Like,
it's like, I feel like it's like having a baby a little bit.
Yeah, I feel that.
But only the bad parts.
Right.
Like, there's no, like, I don't know, like the baby kind of like giving you a kiss on the cheek or something like that. Like the
baby made
moments.
me some money.
That's true.
The baby made me a little bread, though, you know, and the baby is like...
How much? Billions?
No, come on. I made my money back, though, which is huge for me. I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. You know, I spent my own cash to make it, so... Yeah, but...
I mean, that's... To all everybody out there, invest in yourself.
No. Not everybody. Not everybody.
Don't tell everybody?
No, it ain't for everybody. You know, like, trust the elements, you know. You know, if the elements are saying that that's the right thing to do, then maybe, but don't.
But was it like a decision where you like woke up one day and be like, I'm about to spend all the money in my bank account on this movie? Or was it like you spent 10 G's and you were like, all right, we got to go. And then like, okay, I got to spend 10 more. It literally like stack up on you unexpectedly.
I worked on it a little bit, spent some money. I was like, okay, well, that's expensive. But if I need to make a movie, I could spend this much more. It'll hurt if I never get it back, but I won't die. And that was kind of the jump. And I won't spend more than $400 on it. You know, that was it.
That's an I won't die amount of money.
Yeah, I ain't gonna die. I mean, you know. But it would suck to not make it back. You know?
Got to do a lot of shows.
Yeah,
exactly. Fly Lotus in your town.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. That was the plan. You know, I was saying to myself, like, shit, I'll just tour the movie.
Yeah.
If I don't get distribution, I'll take it on the road, DJ every night, show the movie, blah, blah, make the money back that way, hopefully.
So you had a lot of faith that this was going to be like a Batman level hit based on the content. That is like fully accessible to middle America and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You sold it on that. That's cool. I was watching it the second time and I was like struck with how, you know, the first time I was kind of like, there's a lot of dicks getting stabbed in this movie. And like, you know. But like the second time, you're not so like alarmed by the dicks getting stabbed.
Right.
So like, you can watch it for plot more.
Right, sure, yeah.
And I was like surprised at how like plot driven it is.
Yeah, there's some plots in there. Yeah, it's not just dick stabbing. It's not dick stabbing compilation.
I feel like that needs to get out there. It's not just a dick stabbing compilation. It's about the fear of getting your dick stabbed.
Yeah, I mean, goddamn, dude. Like I remember the first time I ever got tested. They
for HIV?
Just, you know, for STDs. When I was, you know, first time I ever got tested, they the doctor put the fucking thing in my dick hole. He like scraped like the inside of my dick hole with like a device. And I think because he was like, oh yeah, you didn't use a condom, huh? All right. Oh, you don't really get it. You know, you're not. And I was like, oh, you can actually just pee in something and get tested after.
I was like, I don't think he was testing you correctly.
Dude, and I was like, that's fucked up, man. That was a good way to teach somebody some shit, you know. But you know,
how were you when that happened?
Oh man, I was a teenager, you know.
Damn,
horrible.
That's horrible. So you got your dick stabbed, and it by a doctor?
Yeah.
You had a traumatic experience with that, and you wrote a movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. That's fucked up, and you know, some people get off on that shit.
Yeah.
You know,
do they?
Yeah, fingernail in the dick hole.
That's the thing.
That's the thing, man.
Where'd you find that out?
Pornhub, like everything else.
Wait, take me through this though. So like, you can get a fingernail in a dick hole?
You can get more than a fingernail in the dick hole.
I didn't want to know that.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
They're out there.
And that like turns the person
in LA.
Sticking the thing. So does that turn on the person who's doing the penetration or the person who's being penetrated?
Both. Probably.
Both, yeah. One thing I think the movie, again on the second watch, well, I think on the first watch I noticed it, I think it's the first time in movie history, or maybe even the history of art, where you have like this juxtaposition of like dick jokes, like real base level kind of teenage, he has a boner and that's funny type of jokes, and like everybody's farting all the time type of jokes, with like transcendence.
Sure, yeah.
And like, and like, you know, a kind of, I guess, pursuit of the sublime.
Sure,
that's very like sincere. And those two things being next to each other seems natural somehow.
Right,
you know?
yeah. Because you know me, that's why.
I don't think it's because I know you. I think it's because, I did try to actually divorce that from watching it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, that juxtaposition, I think maybe, it might make people uncomfortable, but it kind of like made me feel good because it was just a nice balance.
Thanks.
You know,
Yeah, I was hoping that there would be some heart in it too, man. I really wanted people to not just think of it as one sort of note. You know, I wanted to show people that, you know, it can still be fun. You can still have those moments. You know, you don't have to take it so seriously. But then, you know, just a weird balance. But I think you just nailed it, man. Those two things are what I'm about, man. I like, you know, stupid humor and transcendence. It's like, basically,
yeah, it's a self-portrait in that way, in a certain way, and I liked like it was also like this sincere sort of exploration of like what you need to do to get over shit you're afraid of, like, you know, your dick getting stabbed or breasts.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of breasts?
No.
No fear.
I'm not afraid.
No fear of the motorboat.
No. I think that'd be the worst fear to have. I think that's probably why we did it. What would you go in for?
That I'd be afraid of?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
If you get over your fear of something, drinking some Quiggle juice.
Quiggle juice. What am I explicitly afraid of? Being alone.
Yeah.
Being left.
So your trip would just be like endless void then. It'd be like the void.
Like I think losing a sense is a fear of mine. Like losing my hearing.
Yeah, man, that's awful. I think about that sometimes too. That is horrible. You know, just anything like, you know, sight, hearing, whatever. Like, I even think about tinnitus. Like, if I had tinnitus, that'd be so awful. Tinnitus? So when you have that constant ringing in your ear.
Wow.
Like, some people have that.
Wow.
That shit would drive me insane.
I think, though, you would find a way for it to work in the music somehow. Somebody made an album like that has one, I think it was Dirty Projection, somebody. They had, like, one note going through the whole album. And it was interesting.
It's like the ohm. It's kind of like that, you know. It could be binaural beats even, too. Something like that, where it's like something that they're trying to tune your mind to a frequency, a meditation frequency, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, you find a way to use it. But yeah, I mean, I think that like the idea of not being able to engage with a sense is related to the idea of being alone, because it's just like another way that you experience other people or the world. So like, it would just be another, you know, block to community or togetherness or relating. So Quiggles would have to take that away from me.
That sense shit, man. That is some shit.
When he said that shit, that's my favorite part of the movie is when he gets up and he looks over at her and he smiles back at Quiggles. He's like, my nigga. Yeah. You know,
I thought that was so dope to call George Clinton my nigga in that moment too. It was like, yeah.
And then my second, it was the part that like stuck with me a long time. When he gets up and he goes, you know, that shit you was doing, that shit right there. That was that shit. That was that dude.
Yeah.
Because it was like, you know, it's interesting, even in language, how we take like nasty, like bad, you know, it means good, or, you know, that's the shit, whatever. Like how it like funky, you know, whatever. You like use it, like there's so many dingleberries in the movie, but they're like, it's like they're talismans. There's like the dingleberries, the magical potion that'll bring your dad back. You know, so it's like it's really interesting to be like about like taking like excrement, you know, like the nasty shit, but that's like the potion, you know.
Yeah, man. Lifeblood.
The lifeblood. The other thing that, like, back to the plot-driven thing, is like, do you feel like when you were writing it, you connected all the dots to it? Because like, there's stuff I noticed where, I mean, obviously the architecture, there's an earthquake and everybody survived it, but the like connection between, you know, Mr. Quiggles and who's Zach's character? What's his name?
Let's call him Zach. Manuel is his name,
Manuel.
actually. Yeah.
And like the abortion clinic, and then like she is the, you know, the transcendental beings abort the baby for her.
Yeah.
Like, was all that kind of, because I remember when we were talking about it before
Spoiler. Shit.
Oh, sorry. Don't fast forward to that part. But what you were talking about, it was just like a short at first. I remember, I only read the script for the short, and it was like, when you expanded it all, did you kind of just do it to connect everything in one breath?
Well, I was really into the world of it first, so having that kind of setting the rules in the world and all that was so important and so fun, and then it became real easy to kind of come up with these ideas and stories around it. But it was all kind of free form, man. I really didn't do the traditional kind of outlining scene card thing that they tell us to do, but maybe next time. But I didn't think that was my process, because it's not how I make music. I never know what song I'm gonna make when I work on a song, and I had to fucking sit with that. I really wait. Actually, I'm an experimental artist. I like to tinker with things and figure it out in the process, and I had to learn that that's my process in film too, and not just in music.
How did that take shape though, when you actually had to call certain people to show up on a day?
Yeah, sure. Well, as far as the writing process and, obviously, you need to have your costume things figured out and all that. But that was fun. That stuff is fun. And coming up with that shit is awesome. The little details or whatever. And those things need to be prepared, and all the little prosthetics need to be prepared and all that. But I did have shot lists and things like that, storyboards, all that. I was prepared, but I did like to leave the room for, okay, well, what if we get there and nothing is like how I wanted to do it? Mm-hmm. What are we gonna do then?
Did that happen?
That happened. Yeah, that happened a bunch. And it didn't happen until I made room for it, but I was really into that idea that, I don't have to be 120% sure of what we're doing, how it's going to work out, because you know what? I have all these talented actors, and I have all this talented crew, and all these people who actually care about what we're doing. We're going to figure it out together, and it'll be fun. I think there was an anxiety that I had initially, I'll walk into a room, people look at me stupid because I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm the director and I need to know everything and have a good answer for everybody. I was like, fuck that. I've never done this before. Okay, I'm here. Well, let's have a good time making this project, and everyone can do the best of their own, whatever you're good at. We'll get that to the fullest, right now.
Yeah.
I try to just embrace that part of it, and not worry so much. But, I talked myself out of making a movie for God knows how long. As long as we've known each other,
Yeah.
So it's you spend so much time in your head, and whatever.
I was going to ask you, why it take you so long? It gets from a psychological perspective, it might also just been waiting for that money to land in the accounts before you could do it.
But I wouldn't even say it was money. Money is never, it would never be a reason to not make a film or make some art or whatever. It was just, I think, just not believing that I could do it. Really, not believing that, because I didn't have my shit outlined, and I didn't do it the scene card way, and I'd always have a reason why we couldn't do it. It's not the right time. I got to go on tour, this, that, whatever. It's no, it can happen. It really can happen. It's just I think a lot of people spend time in this fucking hole of just doubting, and that was me for a while with films. And I think the best part of doing this one is just knowing that I could do another one or whatever,
that's it.
And I feel okay, well, I can approach it somewhat confidently, and see what happens. People don't realize, I think, you have to be obsessed with this shit.
Yeah, you do.
You have to be so obsessed with it to make it happen. With music, with films, whatever, you have to be so obsessed. But I think even more so with films, because there's so many elements against you already. You just have to be so driven and just to get a meeting, and so it's that. I just didn't I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready to fully jump in, maybe. I don't know.
I'm surprised you said that, because you are you started your music career, you was making a lot of not fully instrumental, but not featuring your voice type of music.
Yeah.
And then you surprised. I remember when you first played me that stuff, I was like, who is that? The Captain Murphy stuff.
Yeah.
Before it was out, I couldn't have even imagined, that you would make that move.
Right.
And it just sort of happened. So like, I didn't think that you would be the type of person to kind of like self-doubt around left turns. But when I was watching it, I thought maybe it took so long because of, to me, how personal it seems around like connection with your parents or with the idea of like mothers and fathers.
Yeah, maybe too, maybe. I think, there's something to be said for life experience too. Mm-hmm. Having lived a little bit more and you feel like you need to say something, but I know a lot of it was just doubt. Yeah. It's not like I never tried to write a screenplay before. It's not like I've never been on shoots before. It's like I just wasn't ready.
Yeah. And guys, you never will be ready. There's no such thing. It'll just happen or not,
How do you feel about all that? Like, how do you, I don't think people realize the kind of sacrifices you have to make to really, to pursue any kind of artistic career.
I think it's anything that doesn't have a roadmap. If you go be a lawyer, you go get a JD, you apply to a law firm, with everything, whether it's kind of art or entrepreneurial stuff, if there's a way to do it, that kind of gap gets closed up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it does,
and then new ways of getting it there, kind of have to exist. And I think on some level, you kind of can't be worried about that. Is for us, you got to make the work.
Yeah.
And one time I realized, I counted how many films I made because somebody asked me how many times I worked with Sean, my DP, and it was like 28.
Wow.
And I was like, between music videos, like how many times have I been on set with Sean? It was a lot. In my body, I don't feel that 28 things have passed through me in that way. And so I was really surprised that
I didn't know you had 28 different.
there's a lot of terrible ones ain't nobody seen, but with the idea that just how the volume of work it takes to even get to a point where you're kind of have any sort of like cachet or confidence in what you're doing or like opportunities. It's like, no, it's not one or two.
Right.
It's not two or three. It's not even 10. You know what I mean? And that's obviously from a like, just you practicing your craft perspective. A lot of it is that, but then also just how long it takes to start psychologically getting out of your own way. Yeah. And just like knowing that like, oh, no, I do this. Like I know how to do it,
Yeah.
And, I'm going through the same thing. Like I'm trying to I'm putting out some of my music soon. And the self-doubt. Yeah, it's like...
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah. All right.
That feeling that you're describing about, like, the insecurity, I'm in the midst of it. And been in the midst of it for, like, these songs are 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? So...
15 years old?
Bruh.
Oh, man.
A lot of them, like, I wrote...
Sitting on some heaters or what, man?
I got...
Come on, bro.
So it's just...
No SoundCloud, nothing?
Nothing.
Why? What's the problem?
The same reason. I think that like first of all, my brothers are musicians.
Yeah.
And they're really well-practiced, phenomenal musicians. And I think that like having carved my lane in what I do, I kind of define.
Well, you have more than one brother?
Yeah, you don't know my older brother, but he's like opera.
Oh yeah.
Musical theater singer. Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah. So
yeah, you're the weird one who does the visuals.
Yeah. So it was like, you're always comparing yourself to people. It was really easy for me to compare myself to because they're there and like. So I think that I tripped myself up psychologically by going through that process. And
wow, that's crazy. 15-year-old
like,
songs.
Yeah,
that would drive me fucking crazy. How could you possibly have a real opinion on it at this point anyway?
What do you mean?
Like, if you've been working on a song for 15 years, you don't hear it anymore.
No, it's not like that. It's not I'm saying they were written 15 years ago.
That's what I'm saying.
Like I didn't work on it the whole time. You know what I mean? Like I haven't heard it like continually.
Okay.
What do you mean, like, you can't judge it?
Like,
You're right.
after I make some shit, you got like 2 years and I can't hear it no more. Usually, in my own. I don't know. I don't listen to my music usually.
Yeah, I'm not the same. I'm the opposite.
Yeah.
Like I think that I can endlessly tinker with one thing.
Sure. Yeah.
For 15 years.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
With the music.
Yeah.
But with the film stuff, I definitely never watch.
Well,
it's over, and I'm like, what was that? I don't remember.
The beauty of music, though, is there's something to be said for the fuckery. Like the shit that's not perfect, the raw.
Yeah.
And the moment too. Like that's why I think music was so attractive to me when I was in film school and shit. It was just because like it could just be about right this second. It doesn't have to be about tomorrow, whatever. It's like, this is how I feel right now. And here's a little journal entry. Mm-hmm. That's it. But I don't know. I think everyone...
You don't think film can be like that?
No, I can't. I can't see it. Like, it's there's so many variables and moving parts and people involved and, with...
Well, even though, think about like, you're talking about like some of the movie is like the Photoshop animation type, like puppet tool type stuff. Mm-hmm. So you don't think you could make films with like processes like that?
It takes too much time.
Yeah.
It's too much time. And like, I think it's, it's still, I don't know. Like the thing, it's hard. I don't know about you, but for me, it's hard to even come back to a song, the next month because energetically I'm different. It's hard to create from the same place that I was when I was working on this thing. And it also fucks with me on the vocals too. Like once I make a beat, sometimes it's like, that's what I needed to say. And that's that, and I can't say nothing else, especially like a month later or whatever. Like I don't know who that person was who made that, I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy. We got our shit, right? Got our process.
I can I can feel myself becoming that way, strangely. But I think because I have a desire for to bring that to filmmaking. Because I noticed, I think Darren Aronofsky said once that after he made The Fountain, he wanted to make something. He made The Wrestler. I think he said something like he wanted to make a movie where there was more space between action and cut. Because like in The Fountain, it's all like, real graphic and special effects and stuff. So it's like you get little pieces specific. Of stuff. Yeah, but...
composed.
Yeah, and The Wrestler is just performance and you just let it go, kind of more doc style. And that's where you can get into like the feeling like you're making something. That feeling you get when you're performing music or whatever.
Sure, yeah. More naturalist kind of thing.
Well, just like you can get into a flow state, essentially.
That's the beauty of shooting on HD, I think.
But he shot that film on film.
Yeah, but he's got a budget. People like, he's got motherfuckers paying for
Flying
the film.
Lotus said, give him a budget, so he could shoot long takes on film.
Yeah, that'd be hard.
Goals. We need that.
Yeah.
But I really, I think that I want to bring that process, that feeling like you can enter into a flow state like you can when you're making a beat or when you're singing or whatever, to the process of like, you can do it when you're writing, but like to the process of actually making the film.
I felt like your style is very much like that. Like with the film you made for your brother, Swimming in Your Skin Again, is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. I've seen it like 4 or 5 times, man. I really love that.
Thank you.
And there's the part that I love the most is like, I can't imagine how you would even direct that. How do you even direct that? It just felt so natural. Everything just felt so in the moment.
I like to just, here's a script, action, and then kind of mold it down.
Yeah, you have the elements, and then as long as you get the elements, you'll be okay. All the space in between is free.
Yeah, I've learned, that process, that film was really important to me because it let me know that it's okay to just not buy the dogma that like working on a script for 5 years and revising it 30 times is gonna make your movie good, or gonna make it what you want it to be. Because it's like, you can just operate like you would do with music, put it down and that's what it is, you know. And the energy of that moment right then is what it is.
I felt that too in mine as well, man. I didn't want to spend too much time like in like script world tinkering too hard. If it felt right there, like we'll figure out the rest and making it and move around, you know. But is that like kind of what you're saying too? Or are you?
Yeah, because I mean, I think what it is like sometimes you like write a line of dialogue and you're like, that's a place that's silly. This happened to me on this film. I just got up. You know, we just finished shooting in Miami. Yes.
So wait, you did that?
Did what? Oh yeah, the one I sent you.
You did that?
I did that shit.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Man. I mean, that's like the Rick Ross
Oh
film.
my
Yeah.
fucking God. That exists?
It exists.
Wow, it's in the can? I can't believe that shit.
In the can.
I was, you know, people might see my movie and be like, what the fuck? But I read his script. I was like, what the actual fuck? Are you fucking, like, what is this, dude? Like, I'm saying that, all right? So maybe I was like, all right, man.
This is what we doing. But yeah, so like I just wrote some, you know, what I thought was shitty dialogue and literally forgot to go back and revise it because just didn't have the time. We get on set, the actors are like saying it and I'm about to cry.
Oh, man.
Like, it's just like, they just, well, I mean, they what I say that to say that like, they took it and made gold out of it.
Flipped it, huh?
And I think that like, I must still have some of that thing of like, well, if I don't really work hard on it, it must not be good. Or it must not be serving its purpose. But, you know, it's a collaboration. Like, so they come in and they bring all their energy to it.
Yeah.
And it becomes about that, you know?
Yeah.
And the value of it, the kind of metaphysical value of it gets pulled in the space between what you put on the page and then like everything they brought to it, you know, all that work and energy, their whole life experience, everything is just in it. And like, that's what it is. You know, it's not lonely guy in a room for a year, you know, like, it's just like, I'm going to make a masterpiece, you know, that type of shit.
Yeah. It's important to realize though, right? That you can actually have people around you who give a shit and want to make it better or want to elevate everything, you know, like that. It's easy to forget that, you know. I definitely had to learn that too. You know, like there was a bunch of different crew members that got interchanged in the process of making Kuso, and you know, I didn't know in the beginning that you can actually have people who contribute ideas. Oh shit! Yeah. No way.
It doesn't have to be like what we doing, Steve.
Yeah, it
we
always has to be like that. I'd love to hear some ideas. You know, I don't. They may not all be good, but I'd love to hear some ideas.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's also like, did you find that there's a certain kind of like, I think a lot of filmmaking is like the curation process of who's around on the day. Like, how did you approach that?
I didn't really understand it as well as I did until the end. I mean, of course, like that's right.
Like, and now,
Now that when it actually doesn't matter anymore. But yeah, man, it's dope. That's what it is. It's like the biggest collab ever. It's like it felt once I kind of made it feel close to what I do in music. You know, it was like, okay, well, you know, I'm not. You know, I can't play guitar, but I'll get this guitar player to do this bit over here, and then I get, you know, this drummer to play this thing over. It's the same, you know. I'll get this guy who's really good with the lights to, you know, do this with this guy who's really good with the miniatures, and once they meet, they're gonna make this thing. And it's dope to be able to do that, right? It's like, I don't know, there's definitely an art form to that, right? It's like knowing how to get the right people and pull the best bits from them.
Like, who makes the best cum?
Yeah, exactly. Who makes
now, who makes the best green cum?
Yeah.
Who makes the best 15-inch black dick? Me! Like, Steve, I'm gonna make it the illest 15-inch black dick of all time. No, it's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, you just like, I think that, like finding, you know, like you the coach, you just sort of like, yo, I don't think, you know, maybe you could do this. And it like for me, it brought something else out of the community of artists that you work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that was really...
I felt that too, man. I felt like a lot of us, we just stepped out of our comfort zone to do this thing, and it was a lot of fun, you know. And a lot of people got to try things they always wanted to try. I made sure to be like, yo, well, let's make the one that you want to make this time. Let's make the graphic look exactly like you want. This is your opportunity to make the puppet that you've always wanted to make. Like, let's go there. Let's do that shit. Do something that you're excited about. You know, it was fun for that.
Well, cool. I appreciate you. I appreciate this movie.
Appreciate you too, man.
Everybody come out.
Yeah.
Where can they see it?
You can see it on Shudder, the streaming service. You can get it fucking free for like 30 days if you sign. You know that whole deal. Sign up's like $5 a month,
man. $5.
Some dope shit on there, and you know, if you like horror, it's dope. And if you don't, you can also just rent the movie or on iTunes and Amazon. You rent, buy whatever you want, but watch that movie. See it however you have to. I don't care. Fucking do whatever. Just watch Kuso.
Also, if you don't think
what.
you like horror films, don't let that alienate you, because it's really a family story.
Then we touched on a lot of, you know, family topics.
A lot of family stuff in it.
Family shit. Yeah.
If you're afraid of when you breastfeed.
Yeah, if you're afraid of titties, it's for you, or maybe not for you. I don't know.
Maybe not.
Maybe, no. Don't watch the movie, all right? Thank you.
No problem.
But do watch the movie. Do watch Kuso. It really is quite something. And I don't know. Elia, you're going to see it on the big screen?
Nick, I will have seen it in theaters by the time this episode drops.
Bro, this time-traveling nonsense is really fucking with my head.
If this podcast has fucked with your head in a good way, please rate and review on iTunes and Stitcher. Every time you do, it helps someone else find the podcast.
And come visit us at Facebook.
Twitter. Wait, you said at Facebook. That made you sound old. Are you old?
I'm really old.
Let's not let this outro get old. It was not George Clinton's butthole.
This film is not a documentary, despite what you may have read on Pitchfork.
Later this week, on Thursday, we have an episode dropping with 2 SNL alumni.
Taron Killam and Kyle Mooney recorded live at Sonos. It's a bit of a gem.
You're a bit of a gem.
So are you, buddy.
I'm Elia Einhorn.
I'm Nick Dawson.
And behind the boards, we have Mark Yoshizumi. Thanks for listening.
See you Thursday.